gonna start.
Engage Vernon.
I'm your new wingman.
We will win! Because we have...
Welcome to CommLink.
Hello and welcome to another CommLink Reacts video. I'm Stubb and I'm joined by Silvius. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's going good.
And today we're going to be taking a look at the first new Inside Star Citizen video of 2024, Extra-Vehicular Particulars. So we're going to be taking a look at some of the upcoming features for 3.23. A lot of this stuff coming in from Squadron 42. And I'm excited for these features. Happy to take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm glad ISC is finally back.
Yes, yeah. Jared has been missed.
All right, let's see what they have to say.
It's a new year, and with every new year comes the refresh after holiday break, the review of process and personnel alike, and the renewed sense of determination to make each year of Star Citizen's development even better than the last. And in 2024, that includes the return of so many Squadron 42 developers to our persistent universe fold, all of which are working to add their features and advancements to the already stellar work of the SC devs we all know and love. And so to get this multi-month marathon started, let's throw it now to Chris, Alexis, Gennady, Inez, and Kian of the eponymously named Team Kian to show us a bit of what they're working on for Alpha 323.
That studio is so cool.
So we showed a lot of interesting things
really
at CitizenCon, and a lot of which is from Kian's team. We're going to be bringing a lot of that to you guys soon this year, and we're going to be talking about the designs of those features and also how we went about making them. You're going to be doing a lot of these for the next 4 months, aren't you?
Yeah.
So does that mean 323 is 4 months out?
That's the first thought I had when I heard that.
Yeah, that was a specific amount of time he just, I don't know, maybe it was for the sake of conversation, but.
Which I guess most of the time the first patch comes out in what, April-ish anyway, so.
Yeah.
That's about right. Unless it comes out like May, like late May.
I mean, yeah, if it's 4 months from now, you know, we just started February, so.
Yeah.
That would be 4 months, would be June.
Yeah, that's pushing into Q2 territory.
Yeah, I'm thinking he just said 4 months just to say it, but who knows? We'll see. It's Star Citizen. I'm sure it will be out in a timely manner.
Clearly, yeah.
The old EVA system had its purpose, but it had a lot of problems.
So the old EVA was not quite controllable.
The entry and exit into EVA not being very smooth, a lot of face planting.
I wish there was a way to know how many face plants there's
Changing
been in the verse.
orientation
If that was somehow
was a problem.
measurable.
You never really knew which kind
It
of
works for
area
me
your body was
perfect
in.
every time.
The upright pose was a little bit awkward for traversing spaces as well. You couldn't really fit into narrow spaces, and it was a bit restrictive for transitioning around space stations and things like that, especially interior spaces.
In addition to that, the sort of volume you take in order to rotate and look around is huge. It's basically rotating your body every time you just look to the right, look up, etc. That doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great, and it doesn't feel wonderful if you're in a confined space because, again, you're clipping against everything.
Yeah, tight spaces are a nightmare.
Just don't
right
really
now.
think it fit with what we want to do in our game.
It's not a bad system. It got us to where we are today. But we want to make improvements, and there are other features and systems that we need to tie into EVA, which brings us to what's coming this year. So there's multiple aspects of the new EVA system that makes it a lot more versatile. The first is that when you start looking around, it's your camera and your head that's moving. Your body, most of the time, doesn't. So if I'm heading in a certain direction and I want to see what's behind me, I can just look behind me, but I see my body. I get that instant frame of reference as to where I am, where my body is, and it just grounds the experience.
So with the new system, we put the player into a more prone pose, kind of a superhero pose, makes them a much smaller silhouette when traversing around areas.
Can you show us how the EVA works? Show us how the EVA works.
So now EVA works like this. You move forward and you just fly. And
This is science.
How about when you turn, when you rotate?
and when you rotate, you're like,
The footprint of the character doesn't start to change. So if I want to look around in this tight-knit space, I'm not suddenly spinning around and knocking all the things off the shelves. I'm just looking around, which means that the metrics we can support for that feature suddenly become much more versatile. You can get on a vent rather than not being able to fit into a room. It's also a lot prettier to watch someone who's got a weapon or just looking around, rotating around as they're doing so. From the outside, it looks better.
So that just answered one of the questions I had. I was wondering if like ballistic weapons would physically like push you backwards
Right.
when you fired them, but it looks like they were staying. I mean, it still had the recoil, obviously, but it looked like they were staying in the same position.
Yeah, so if you're trying to maintain a position, you start to shoot your ballistic rifle. All this not going to just throw you into the nearest wall inside the station or wherever you're at.
Yeah, and I was curious about that, so now we know.
Yeah.
From the player experience, it just really helps out. You know where you are and what you're doing.
We've smoothed out transitions entering and exiting EVA. So no more face planting unless you really, really try.
That was a great shot.
in new EVA, you can just press forward and you fly. If you release the button, you keep flying while you still can rotate and look around.
Yeah, we've allowed it so you can turn on the spot without altering your silhouette, which is quite nice for interior traversal again. Feels a lot more natural, a lot more responsive to the player.
Yeah, we're going like this. Great.
The features we're going to be bringing out at some point later, soon. We've got zero-G traversal, and that's you attaching to a surface. In the previous system,
Yeah,
Did
we
he
need
just
to
say
talk
later?
about that. Yep,
He just said later, didn't he?
he did.
Why CIG?
This
Why?
zero-G traversal, though, so something that we talked about not too long ago was this concept of being able to sort of magnetize yourself to somebody's ship hull and, basically hijack them that way versus actually physically like hiding inside of the ship, instead hiding outside of the ship instead. And it seems like that might actually be feasible with what they're showing right now.
Yeah, I wonder if you stay attached while the ship is moving. I'm sure there's some like max amount of speed it can be using before you detach from it or something.
Yeah, that could be. But I don't know. It could give would-be pirates out there some more options.
Man, I really hope zero-G traversal is just like later in the year. Man, because I thought it was going to come with the new EVA updates, which don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're doing the EVA updates because it's definitely needed, but I thought it was going to be the whole package together.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to.
CIG gonna CIG. It's all right.
That's it.
We'll see.
again, because the character was upright the entire time, it just wouldn't have gelled well with that feature. You're effectively in prone, but attached to a surface, and you're moving along that surface or gliding along it if you sprint. That just transitions really nicely from the pose we have for zero-G traversal to the EVA pose. It's almost exactly the same. It's also very similar to prone. So, for example, if you were in a vent and all of a sudden gravity went out, you could crawl along it in zero-G traversal or move around it in EVA without changing what your body's doing, which just means that it's a far more seamless experience. There's a much less chance of anything going wrong as a result of that as well.
We've also introduced the EVA fuel and momentum. So once you start traveling forwards in one direction, you'll keep going in that direction until you press another input or the space brake to stop. This becomes especially important when we introduce EVA fuel. So you'll have a finite amount of fuel, and just that little boost could be enough just to get you back to the safety of a space station or your ship. It sets us up nicely for zero-G push-pull, which comes further down the line.
So in terms of what that means for user player and what you're going to be doing with this feature, it allows us to use EVA to get you guys going from your ship to another ship, from your ship to an abandoned space station. You can fly inside ships and space stations without gravity now, without fear of bashing your head and your legs all over the place. It really makes it a much more smooth and easy to use system. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's just more fun.
Can you hear me?
I enjoy just flying in and out of test
levels. Did you also lose connection?
To the activity?
Yeah.
No.
It came up with a lost connection and then it had to reconnect or whatever.
Are you reconnected now?
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay. We'll just keep rolling. We'll fix it in post. Probably not, but it'll be fine.
All right.
Ships, etc. With the old system, it's a bit slow and lackluster. With this, I feel like I'm a superhero while I'm going around in space. So yeah, the new EVA feature, as you guys see it today, it's hopefully going to look even better once it gets into your hands. And yeah, we're really excited to see what you guys think of it.
In 4 months.
All right, let's talk about pie pits.
Okay, before they get into pie piss, like I don't really think it can be overstated, like what a huge change this new EVA system is going to be for the game, because they said in the video, like, it's not a bad system, talking about the one that we have now. It's kind of bad. Like, it doesn't feel natural at all. It's very janky, especially when you're in narrow places. But not even just always in those tight spaces. Sometimes just getting back onto, a Cuddy Black or whatever through the hangar door can be a nightmare. So I'm really happy that this is on its way, and the animations look pretty smooth. I just hope that it feels as natural as it looks, and I'm sure it probably will. And they'll continue to tinker with it and iterate on it, but all in all, from what they've shown in this video, and then what we got to see at CitizenCon back in October, it seems like they are really making huge strides with the EVA mechanics.
Yeah, it's other than this star map, I've been looking forward to EVA improvements for a while, just because even just going into like soft death ships and trying to loot, or the Kovalex mission or anything like that, it's almost impossible, or especially the like collect and deliver missions in space, where you have to like go inside of a blown apart ship and find boxes and dead bodies or whatever it is. It is really a pain right now to try and navigate those tight spaces in EVA. So yeah, it's going to be a huge update for sure. I'm a little disappointed that the push-pull traversal's not coming with the initial update. But definitely a good change.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder how far behind push-pull traversal's actually going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't still get it calendar year 2024. If maybe that's just closer to summertime. Who knows?
Sounds like 323 is going to be closer to summertime.
It may be, yeah. But my gut tells me that once this stuff does start to come into the game, additional features won't be too far behind. I think they're going to want to keep this momentum going.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong.
Ready to hear about pie piss?
Yep.
Well, it was better when it was piss pit.
It used to be piss pit?
Yeah. player interaction system. Yeah.
So let's talk about the new PIPIS.
Gotta stop saying.
I was too late to change it. I like to say PIS because, yep, sounds better.
I try to avoid HR complaints.
So the burning question is, what is PIPIS? Well, it's everything you interact with around you and how you go about doing that.
It's not always easy to select the interaction that you're looking for.
No,
You
it
have
is
to
not.
drag your cursor then to make your selection. And it's not really very fast or intuitive.
And in
No,
general,
it
it
sucks.
got in the way of you
It sucks.
doing what you wanted. It added an extra layer of menuing that wasn't necessary.
But there's some things that we wanted to solve, and that's what the new system does.
So with the new personal interaction experience, we have multiple ways of improving how you interact with the items around you.
So we've released little parts of the new system in the past with the pit wheel and the quick select wheels and the control hints. This is by far the biggest iteration on it and will totally change how you interact with things in the world. We've introduced the new interaction prompt, which will show you which item you will interact with by just tapping F, and will also show you
Look at the
type
minimap.
of interaction that will be performed.
So the new system, the players don't have to go into interaction mode to interact with the objects.
We've updated that to have an on-screen icon. It gives you the input that you need to press, and it gives you an idea of what you're actually going to do when you press it. So that
This is way
ambiguity
cleaner.
of, am I in range? Is it the item I'm going to interact with? It's gone. You've got an immediate bit of feedback that tells you what you're going to interact with, what you need to press to interact with it, and what you'll do when you interact with it.
So if you're looking at a plushie on the desk, it'll show an F above it with grab, and you can just pick that item up with that. We've also introduced the personal interaction wheel, which instead of the list view, will now give us a nice radio menu that lets you select exactly what you want to do in a much more intuitive manner.
Thank
And
you,
with
thank you,
the
thank you.
wheel, it's much more seamless, and it feels more like there's no barrier between you and the interactions.
And that's locked to the screen, so you can't miss. You're always selecting something, and it's 99% of the time what you want to interact with. Don't sneeze while you're pressing the button. It's much more intuitive. It's much easier to use. And that option, that problem I mentioned, where if you're trying to interact with what's in your hand, that's gone. Now the new system just opens the wheel, and you select what you want to do with what's in your hand. It just works.
So this new interaction wheel plays really nicely with default item actions, which has been in development for a while, but it needed the whole system to come together as one before we released it.
If, for example, you're out mining gems after blowing up rocks with your multi-tool, you might want to pick a gem up and look at it. Or you might want to just store it directly into your backpack. You now have the option to customize and say, when I look down at that piece of gem, show me the prompt. It's always going to show store. Or it's always going to show carry or inspect. It's up to you. And you can change that on the fly, and it'll remember it. And it just allows you to customize your own experience.
It's a major quality of life update.
Now the player doesn't have to go to interaction mode to make a selection. It can just simply tap to trigger the behavior.
The new system is entirely data-driven, so from our perspective, it makes it really easy to customize from a designer's point of view. And again, because we've set up that data, you can then customize it yourself.
It allows you to customize the primary and the secondary interaction. So you can change what just tapping F while looking at something does.
If the player changes the default item on that item, the selection will be saved across all the items that match that state and the item category.
It picks up on what you want to do with different item types. So if you want to cuddle a plushie, you can set that to be your default inspect. If you want to be picking up golden lemons and storing them directly whilst you're harvesting, you can set store to be your default, and then that's the way it'll stay. If you want to equip ammo as soon as you come across it to your suit, you can set that as your default item action.
Man, look at
So
that.
it's something that, with a little bit
So
of
happy about
interaction
this.
from yourself, means that you can customize and tweak your own play experience and really rough out the edges in terms of your minute-to-minute gameplay and how you interact with things.
We've also introduced a new scoring system for interaction points that allows us to better select which interaction point is of interest to the player. This is based on distance from the player, angle to the cursor or center screen, and whether it's on screen or not. It also allows us to interact with things that aren't quite on screen, so if there's a trolley handle just below you, you'll be able to tap F and you should just grab it. This makes it a lot more intuitive. Something on the ground can have a different default action to something in your hand. This is all set up and customized through the interaction wheel.
And then obviously the player now doesn't have to go into interaction mode, drag the cursor, make the selection. It can just simply tap or double tap to trigger the secondary action, and that should be a much easier experience for the player.
We'll forget about what was there before. It'll feel like it has always belonged. You won't be able to live without it, really.
That's just some of the things our team has been working on over the last few months and bringing to SE Alpha 323.
We're looking at bringing you lots more stuff from our work on Squadron 42 into Star Citizen. We're really excited to get that into your hands to improve your overall player experience, the way you travel through the verse. Yeah, when you get your hands on it, please let us know what you think. We're really excited to find out.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that EVA looks sick. Sure, usually I'm a bit more eloquent than that, but damn, I'm allowed to mark out sometimes. That the way we interact with the persistent universe around us is getting a whole lot more intuitive and customizable. And that this new EVA, new default item actions, and new personal interaction system are just the beginning of what this spring's Alpha 323 has to offer. Yes, Virginia, it's gonna be a big one. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Be sure you check out tomorrow's Star Citizen Live, where we dive into even more Alpha 323 goodness, and we'll see you all here next week.
I would live on that set.
At least half of the funding went to it. It's great.
Basic video game interaction functions. Let's go, boys.
Yeah.
Finally.
And it looks good. It looks good. It looks nice. Yeah, it both of these updates, as long as they go well, are going to help make Star Citizen so much less painful to play and enjoy.
Yeah. I don't know anyone that especially newbies, played Star Citizen with, and they've just been like, what is this looting? And I'm always just having to explain, it's kind of a placeholder, and it's what we got. So,
right.
Yeah, I know of multiple people that, not even the state of the game as far as bugs or crashes or whatever aren't playing because of that, but just because of how much of a headache it is just for basic interactions and looting and item management and star map, which is a different story, but just making basic things in the game feel good. I think we'll get more people playing.
Yeah, absolutely. It does make me a little curious how far along these features are in Squadron 42, though. Something to me, and again, not a game dev, we say it pretty much every week here, but to me, things like a UI update, I don't know how the PU's net coding and all that would cause some sort of issue for the dev team. UI updates, I would have thought would have been pretty much just a direct port over from Squadron 42. But if they're still working away on this, I mean, maybe it's all part of their polish phase or whatever, that they're going to keep working on UI and these various quality of life updates. But I don't know, I'm curious what sort of shape Squadron 42 actually is in, because in part of these updates coming to Star Citizen, not in their full form, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
it feels like we're getting the next tier of these features, but still not really close to a final tier.
Yeah, if Squadron was feature complete, wouldn't you think that 0G traversal was already in Squadron 42? So,
right.
I don't know. Yeah, who knows what they mean by feature complete or if this stuff is working in Squadron. And I also just noticed there's another minute of video left.
Yep. Yeah, it's not over
Okay.
yet.
Okay, let's see what we got left.
Dun, 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 dun. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da.
You're so silly.
Beautiful.
Are those new skins or are those pre-existing skins? You know?
I don't know.
Or if that was them teasing some upcoming skins. I don't pay much attention to the skin market, to be honest, with everybody watching. So I'm not on the up and up with ship paints.
Yeah, that was a nice little ISC first one back for the year. Not as juicy as I was hoping, but I mean, most of that stuff we kind of saw at CitizenCon, but
right.
It's good to know it's coming in the next 4 months or less.
Yeah, we might have got a hint at the release date, the actual release date for 323. Who knows? Different updates have to cook in the PTU for different periods of time, but if 323 does end up coming out closer to summer, it's not the end of the world. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, these updates are much needed. I think pretty much everybody in the community is going to be happy to see these finally hit the game, regardless of what kind of player you are. If you're more combat oriented or trading or what have you. So yeah, I'm happy to see this. I'm happy that ISC's back as well, and according to Jared on the website not too long ago, we're supposedly going to get these ISCs every week until 323 comes out. Whether that's in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever it is. What was said was that ISC will continue to be pumping out episodes until the update hits. So
yeah, and we'll do our best to react to each one. And if you want to hear us talk about these things more in depth, check out our podcast episodes. We can blab as long as we want about this stuff on those. And we also have the CommLink alerts going out right now too. So hit that subscribe, like, and you'll be sure to get the videos when we put them out.
Yeah, and let us know when you think 323 is going to come out and hit PU. So my money is, the ballpark probably about May, like we were saying earlier. But yeah, let us know down below. When is 323 coming out? Chris Gibb.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Be safe. Stay well.